What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and in today's video I want to give some tips and tricks if you are traveling to Metlife Stadium this fall for Giants or Jets games, as well as any potential concerts as well. We're going to cover a couple different ways that you could get there between driving, public transportation, between train or bus, and then the last option being rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft. I'm going to put timestamps on the bottom if you want to jump to a specific area. So just look below and skip over to that. And if anything in this video helped you, please just drop a like on the video. Or if I missed something, please feel free to comment, especially if you have any tips or tricks on top of what I've already mentioned in this video. So with that, let's dive into it. So Metlife Stadium is located in East Rutherford, New Jersey. One of the first ways that you could go about getting there is by car. And here are some tips for traveling by car. First and foremost, if it's for a Jets or a Giants game, you'll need to buy a parking pass. If your ticket doesn't come with one, you could buy parking passes online through Ticketmaster or reseller, or even StubHub has them. But just be sure to shop around a little bit between some of those options and find a parking pass that is most cost efficient for yourself. Entering in One Metlife Stadium Drive in East Rutherford, New Jersey, in your GPS, when you get close, just be sure to follow the signs as well, because there's a lot of police and traffic cops and security kind of forcing people to go in certain directions. So don't be alarmed, just follow the flow of traffic and try to get towards your intended parking area based on where your parking permit is. So do a little bit of research before the game, before you start traveling, to see if you could just plug in that lot that you have on your parking pass into your GPS and see if it could take you there as smoothly as possible. My last tip for driving is just arrive early as much as possible so you can have some spare time to find where you're supposed to park. Also, if you want to meet people before the game and or get your own tailgate set up, it just helps to give as much time as possible to not deal with all the traffic that gets insane as the closer it gets to game time. And the final pro tip of driving, just have snacks and drinks readily available, especially for after the games when you're driving back. There's nothing better than just having like the rest of a sandwich in a bag or some leftover tailgate food that you can munch on for the ride home, which usually takes a while. The second way you could get to Metlife Stadium would be through public transportation, like the train or the bus. And this is a great alternative. It's much more cost efficient, and it is fairly smooth for the most part. You can hop on Jersey Transit, so if you're leaving from Penn Station or taking the train to Penn Station, then hopping on Jersey Transit from there, you would take the train to Secaucus Junction, then transfer to the Meadowlands rail line, which takes you directly to the stadium. Service is available for most events, but always just be sure to check the schedule. Obviously, for Jets and Giants games, there will be many frequent trains, and then you could also buy your ticket, purchase it through that app. And here's a big tip for taking Jersey Transit to the game: download the app prior to getting on the train, because you can download the ticket directly to your device. Sometimes I've been there and you'll see the line where you purchase tickets in person be super long the day of games. So you could completely avoid all of that just by downloading the app. Again, similar to driving, the sooner you could get on those earlier trains, the better. As you closer you get to game time, the more crowded and packed those trains will be. So just try and go earlier and save yourself, sitting on another packed train. If you are to take the bus, you could take the bus from the Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan directly to the stadium. On event days, the Coach USA offers the 351 Meadowlands Express bus from the Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan directly to the stadium. So I've done this in the past. Sometimes, like what I mentioned earlier, getting there early didn't necessarily help me in my cause, as I got there a few hours early before game time, and the bus driver told me that the bus actually couldn't leave until the bus was full. So then I was just kind of sitting there hoping more bigger groups of people would come so the bus could leave. So something to think about there. And also, in my experience a few years ago taking the bus, it was a little difficult to find. It was down in the basement of the bus terminal. There weren't really too many signs about it. So if you are confused, maybe look for someone in a green or blue jersey who's also going to the game and try and ask them if they're going, or maybe just follow them to the bus terminal area, or just ask a paid MTA employee. Not that they're the most helpful to begin with anyway, but worth a shot. And again, too, similar to NJ Transit, you can buy a ticket on your phone. The last way you can get to the stadium is through ride-sharing services like Uber or Lyft. There are designated drop-off and pickup zones. Metlife Stadium has specific pickup zones for getting dropped off or pickup. I have seen people just get out of Ubers wherever they are and just like hop over railings as you're entering the stadium. Stadium, which obviously, could lead to some physical risk that could be completely avoided. And then also the biggest thing is leaving the game. Keep in mind, MetLife Stadium has a capacity of almost 83,000. So all of those people are kind of leaving the game at the same time. So try and plan ahead, especially when you're leaving. Of the lack of availability, as everyone who drove to the game is leaving at the same time, it's hard for Ubers to kind of get into that pickup area sometimes. So you might be waiting 20, 30, 40 minutes just to get in an Uber. So try and plan accordingly if you can. And if you're doing it, just maybe shoot the Uber or Lyft driver a message to make sure that they're on their way and you have a clear meeting point to avoid any sort of confusion. So we discussed driving, bus, and public transportation like the New Jersey Transit Railroad, and then ride shares. So here's a couple of tips just for getting home. If you do have the ability, I never want to encourage people leaving early just because the cost of tickets these days cost so much, and it is a treat to be able to go to any NFL game or concert or event. But if you can leave a few minutes, especially for us Jets and Giants fans, where we really haven't seen too many games come down to the wire at MetLife Stadium in the last decade or so. So if you could leave to avoid the rush, especially if you're using public transportation or rideshare, that's a huge plus. And then also if you're driving, check out GPS and Google Maps and see traffic and demand can be unpredictable. So just have a backup plan in case your first options don't necessarily work. I have seen a lot of people that will go to a 1 o'clock game at MetLife Stadium and then stay from till 6 p.m. after the 1 o'clock game's over and watch like the first half or some of the 4 p.m. games before leaving the stadium. If you do have a tailgate with a TV, it's a complete blast to just sit there and watch the parking lot empty out while you're just hanging out and enjoying a couple cold beers. Just also keep in mind, if you're leaving from a 4 p.m. game, you are going to hit a lot of bridge and tunnel traffic, as it would say, for example, on a Sunday night, everyone else who's traveling home around that time, you'll be sitting in that traffic on top of an NFL game ending. So it will take a significant amount of time to get home, especially in an Uber as well. So for those game times, I probably recommend public transportation if possible. And then my favorite games to go to are the late games. Even though the Giants have had zero success in those primetime games, there is just no one on the road after those games, so you could usually get home pretty quickly. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like and let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll try to address them in the comments. And hopefully you're able to catch a couple games this year, and hopefully our teams could finally get some wins. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you at the game.